Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mardreamin. We are so excited to have you all joining us today. My name is Kate Godley from Circante, and I'll be moderating today's session. Before we get started, I do have a few housekeeping items to cover. Yes, these sessions are going to be recorded and will be available on demand after the event. We'll also be following up with links to these recordings via email. If you have a question, please post it in the Q&A tab above. We do have some time at the end of this session for Q&As. And lastly, let's make sure to use the chat. You've got emojis, GIFs, and more, and we definitely want to hear from you. So let's go ahead and get started. I'd like to introduce you to our speaker today, Claudia Hoops, who has an awesome session for us all about automating your campaign creation, leveraging Salesforce and Screenflows for multi-channel success. Take it away, Claudia.
Thank you so much, Kate. Hello and welcome to my session today, Automate Your Campaign Creation, Leveraging Salesforce Screenflows for Multi-Channel Success. My name is Claudia, as Kate just introduced me already, and I'm super excited presenting this solution today to you because I have been wanting to build this for a very long time. My passion is all things digital, including marketing automation and Salesforce, and I first introduced to Salesforce in 2012. I've recently moved back to Germany from Australia, and now as a consultant at Fluent 6, I help organizations driving growth with marketing automation and strategy across the Salesforce platform. I'm also leader for one of the B2B marketers groups here in Hamburg in Germany, and I've been a Salesforce marketing champion since 2021. So before I start, I would really like to acknowledge our incredible sponsors. We wouldn't be here without them. Thank you so much. And yeah, let's get into it. In our agenda for today, I will start with a brief overview of account engagement and its campaign influence. You can take away out of the box, and it lays the foundation of the solution I'm showing you today. Secondly, I will remind us about the conventional or old school way of how we are usually creating Salesforce campaigns, its member statuses, and how to add account engagement prospects, or better said, the equivalent leads and contacts to Salesforce campaigns as members. As a third point, I'll be sharing the approach I'm using to automate campaign and member creation, or in the other words, my secret sauce. And lastly, I will show you a demo of how you can automate your campaign creation, including custom URLs to automatically associate account engagement prospects, or better, the leads and contacts to Salesforce campaigns as members. If you do have any questions, as Kate mentioned already, please pop them in the Q&A. We have a little bit of time at the end of the session for those. So to kick things off, I'd like to talk a little bit about account engagement and its campaign influence models, or reminders about that. So the campaign influence allows us to track and measure how our marketing campaigns contribute to revenue, directly connecting marketing efforts with sales outcomes. When we integrate this with account engagement, we get a clearer view of leads and contacts that are interacting with our campaigns. So Salesforce offers several customizable campaign influence models for when integrated with account engagement, each with its own way of attribution credit. So there's 3 out-of-the-box models. The first touch attribution. This model gives 100% credit to the first campaign a prospect interacts with. So it's useful for understanding which campaigns actually bring leads in the door for initial interest. The last touch attribution model is the opposite of the first touch. This model credits the final campaign that a prospect interacted with before becoming an opportunity. So this really shows what closes the deal. And then the even touch distribution model is a good model where we equally distribute credit across all our campaigns a prospect has engaged with. So it provides a balanced view of how our campaigns are performing. So these models help us attribute revenue more effectively by giving credit to the right touch points along the journey. In order to take advantage of these models need to be enabled and can be further customized by identifying how long an opportunity should be influenced by a campaign, like the sales cycle length, and if any campaigns should be excluded. Additional custom models could also be built. Leads and contacts then need to be added to campaigns according to their touch points. In order to establish the connection that an opportunity was influenced by a campaign, contacts that are campaign members need to be added in as opportunity contact roles. Okay, so now let's talk about how to approach the creation of a campaign hierarchy, attaching child campaigns according to our campaign tactics, and lastly then how to add prospects to these campaigns. So these are all the foundations we are laying now out. When we work with Salesforce campaigns, we can look at it as a 3-steps process. Firstly, we want to look at our overall marketing plan and channels we are planning to use across the year to create our parent campaign structure. On the first layer is built, we need to create the layers below and their child campaign. Once the first layer is built, we want to then create the layers below and our child campaigns. For example, if we are planning to run events as one of our marketing channels for the year in 2024 or 5, the layer beneath are the single named events that we are running, for example, followed by the tactics, the channels we might be using to promote that event, like sending out an email or putting it on social media. Lastly, we need to create rules then in account engagement to ensure that prospects who sign up for those events will be added to the child campaigns with the respective touch points so we understand the attribution. Here you can see a potential parent campaign hierarchy, including all the channels we might be possibly using throughout the year. These could then be further broken down into, for example, email marketing, like your newsletters, your nurtures, your product updates, social media, like your paid and organic campaigns, followed by the channels like LinkedIn, Facebook, X, or Instagram. Or you might have a special campaign, which could be a budget for a specific product launch or a big event during the year that will then be marketed via different channels living underneath, via email, via social media, Google Ads, and the likes. So once we have identified both our parent and child campaign structure, we then have to go into Salesforce and create all the campaigns we need, including its name, like you can see here, Cloud Dreaming 2024, the parent campaign to it, what type of campaign it is, an event type, the start and end dates, the budget if we do know that one, and potentially a few more custom fields we might have added, like in this case, I've added a target industry, an audience, and you also don't want to forget to make this campaign active. Once you've done that, we want to ideally also add campaign member statuses according to the campaign types. So for an event or a webinar, we want to use statuses such as invited, registered, attended, or no-show. Whereas for an email campaign type, we rather want to use statuses like sent, opened, clicked, downloaded white paper, or completed contact form. And I guess in this case, having it a 2-step process, it would be really good, I guess, if we could do it all in one go together, right? So now we have created our parent campaign hierarchy, we have created our child campaigns with the statuses, and now we can go into account engagement and build our automations to add prospects and the equivalent leads and contacts to respective campaigns. And we can do that via completion actions. Those are available on forms and form handlers, on list emails, on page actions, on custom redirects, and on files, PDF only files though, not for images. We can also do that for automation rules, or we can use Engagement Studio for it. Okay, so now I'm planning an event called Cloud Dreaming 2024. And I'm looking to advertise it then via email, my website, with Google paid search campaigns. And I also want to advertise it on LinkedIn. So in total, I want to use 4 different channels. And when I'm looking at the channels, I'm also saying, you know what, I would like to also run it via multiple campaign types. So I'm choosing to run it via LinkedIn organic posts and also sponsored content. So what would that now mean, what I have to work on based on what we just went through? So that means I now have to create, first of all, 5 different campaigns for Cloud Dreaming, for account engagement, like being my email tool, for my website or organic search, for Google paid search, for LinkedIn organic social, and for LinkedIn sponsored content. And because we have like the one-to-one relationship between campaign and form and the completion actions, that means I also need to create a form in the landing page to ensure prospects are being added to the right campaign, to add them to the specific account engagement, website, Google Ads, LinkedIn organic, and LinkedIn sponsored content. And not to mention here as well that there might be a bunch of additional completion actions, such as you want to send a confirmation email, you want to maybe also add the prospects to other lists, and you might also want to add some scoring points. And then you also want to maybe need to change a field on all forms. So being here, when you think about this, what I now have to work on, I have a little poll I want to share with you guys, how you feel about that. You should be able now to see a poll. Oh, you can participate in. I'll just give you a couple of, a few seconds. Okay. Not having too much engagement, that's okay. I actually wanted to say, like, I really feel like, one moment. Oh. It doesn't let me. Oh, no, okay. Apologies. Back to my screens. So I actually feel like that it's going to drive me really crazy, and I'm going to look like the cat here. I'm sitting on my computer and like typing like a maniac. And so I really thought about that there needs to be a better way to do this. So I have spent some time in the Salesforce kitchen, aka Salesforce Flow, to craft the perfect recipe, and I would like now to share my ingredients and secret sauce with you. Some of you might have worked with UTM parameters in your URL to understand in Google Analytics where your website traffic comes from. We are using this also now to automate the campaign naming convention and custom URL creation. So the UTM source becomes our lead source or channel. The UTM medium becomes our campaign type. The UTM campaign essentially becomes the campaign name. Then we also have a couple of optional UTM parameters as we know. So there's UTM content, which is specifies what was clicked to get to the page, or UTM term, which is also optional, and that's used for paid search campaigns to track keywords. Additionally, we are also adding our secret sauce, which are 2 extra parameters in order to automate adding prospects to campaigns with their correct member statuses. So this will become the Salesforce campaign ID, which is created and added during the campaign creation process, and the member status, which is chosen and also created during campaign creation process. So on this slide, I'm showing you a few different examples of combinations between a UTM source, as we said, the lead source of the channel, the medium, which is also the campaign type, and then member statuses. For example, if we were to use an email platform like account engagement or marketing cloud engagement or marketing cloud growth, we would be using email or nurture as campaign types. And then our member statuses would be sent, opened, clicked, downloaded my paper, or completed form, for example. When using any of the social channels like Facebook or LinkedIn or X or Instagram or TikTok, I'm suggesting to use organic social or paid social, sponsored content, or display advertising as a campaign type. And then statuses such as viewed, clicked, or also completed form. And when running any events or webinars, we would add the specific name as a channel, like Cloud Dreaming 2024 is in my example here, and then use them as campaign types or mediums with statuses such as invited, registered, attended, no-show, or on demand for a webinar. So I just wanted to give you a few examples of combinations. I hope you get where I'm coming from here, but it's obviously completely up to you how you would want to set this up in your marketing campaign setup. I will shortly now follow up with a little demo, but please see here a campaign that was created by the Screenflow, with the name being a combination of the actual campaign I'm running, so marketing my event Cloud Dreaming 2024, and using the channel or lead source account engagement, the UTM medium or campaign type email, with a mix of member statuses for an email and event type, like as you can see on the bottom screenshot, invited, opened, clicked, registered, attended, or no-show. And then the UTM tracked URL now shows the landing page URL with the attached UTM tracking parameters, as well as the Salesforce campaign ID and member statuses, so that we can automate them later, adding leads and contacts to campaigns based on that. Okay, so let's dive into the demo, the future of automation at your fingertips. To plan my event Cloud Dreaming 2024, I will first of all, big surprise, create a campaign code. Then next, I'm clicking on the down arrow for more buttons, and I'm opening my Screenflow by clicking on Create My Campaign Program. So here on the first screen that opens, it asks me what campaign program I would like to build, which is also like my Cloud Dreaming 2024 campaign here, which lays the foundation for the further child campaigns. My parent campaign field is already pre-populated with the campaign I've started this flow on. And as the next step, I'm completing my campaign program details. So here on the next screen now, it asks me to complete all the details from my campaign. As we know, so my type of my program is an event. I've planned it at the moment. My target audience is a new lead generation. My target industry is consulting. My start and event date. My budget for the overall campaign across all the different channels I want to market it on is $50,000. And the campaign base URL, my landing page to sign up for my event, is here. So you can see also claudematrich.de at Cloud Dreaming 2024. Obviously, again, you can pick and choose here the fields relevant to you. You know, campaigns come with a standard set of default fields, but in my example, for example, I've added target audience and industry as custom fields here. And you also want to make sure that you make the campaign active. So then on my next screen, I'm now choosing the channels for my program. So on this screen now, you can see that I'm choosing the channels, which will also act now as our lead sources or the UTM source. So here I'm choosing now account engagement, Google, and LinkedIn, and my website. These channels also can be customized according to your own ones you're using in your marketing program. Now, next, the Screenflow now loops me through all my chosen channels and will ask me to choose a specific campaign type for each. Here it starts first of all with the channel account engagement, and I can choose now whether I'm running it as a one email blast or a nurture campaign. I'm choosing an email blast here as an invite. Now on this screen, I can now decide whether I would like to create a child campaign for account engagement, including a custom URL to my parent campaign, Cloud Dreaming, or if I would want to only create directly a URL to that parent campaign. In this instance, I'm choosing child campaign, and I'm also adding an optional UTM content for my URL later. You can see here that besides the UTM term, there is also space to add a couple of extra custom parameters. I have added this option in case there are other parameters you want to add to the custom URL. This could be maybe like a Sitecore tracking number or GCLID, Google tracking number, or anything else you really want to track. If you would choose only the URL option, that could be a great use case for, let's say, if you're sending out a newsletter and you want to add different UTM parameters to different links in that newsletter, so you can create different URLs directly attached to that newsletter campaign. So upon clicking next again, I'm getting an overview of all the details I've already added to my campaign program for review. Additionally, I'm now choosing my default campaign member status. I'm using invited here, as well as the list of responded campaign member statuses that are registered, attended, no-show, but I'm also adding opened and clicked since it's an email invitation campaign to my event. The other item I have to choose is the budget I would like to spend for running this event email invitation campaign. And I'm choosing that from my $50,000 at the starting point available. I'm using $5,000 for this email campaign. Then I'm clicking next to create my campaign program and preview the URL. As you can see now here on the top, my campaign Cloud Dreaming 2024 account engagement email was successfully created. And I can now review the parameters for my custom URL. I can see the base campaign URL, the Salesforce campaign ID. I choose my member status, which is registered to those signing up on the link. I can see my UTM or lead source, which is account engagement, my medium or campaign type, which is email, as well as my UTM content I added in here too. Once I'm happy with everything, I click on create my URL. And now as a last step for this loop, my custom URL, including all my parameters, was created ready for me to use in account engagement. And now, once I click next again, the Screenflow now loops me back to the screen with my next chosen channel and asks me to choose a type. This time we had Google, where I would like to run some paid ads for my event. And just gonna go a little bit faster through this. So here again, when clicking next, once again, it asks me if I want to create a campaign or URL. I add a bit of UTM content in here as well, and a term, followed by the review of all the campaign parameters I had already chosen at the start of the Screenflow. Now only choosing again my default and respondent member statuses for this Google campaign paid search campaign, as well as the budget I'd like to spend. You can see now that the 5K from the email was already deducted. I have 45K left, and now I'm saying I'm going to spend 20K for my Google ads for this. Now the Google paid search campaign was created, and I'm reviewing the parameters for my custom URL, and I'm choosing my member status, click create URL, and again, my URL was created. So, and then now it loops back again. Not going to do this all again, but once I've done it all, and voila, we can now see the last screen, which shows us all the campaigns which were created, as well as the custom URLs attached. All my 5 campaigns were created and the custom URLs attached to it as well. For those who know about this screen, the campaign hierarchy screen, you can also see now under my Cloud Dreaming 2024 parent campaign, my 5 child campaigns with the naming conventions were created. So from here now, the UTM track values, which one or the other might have seen this part already, which would be taken care by another flow, which I'm not part of my presentation today. But essentially, the UTM track values, as well as the Salesforce campaign ID and member statuses, can be captured in hidden fields on a form, on an account engagement form, and pushed back onto the leads and contact fields, where then a different flow adds the records based on those values to the respective campaigns and stamps the UTM values onto the respective campaign members, what you can see now here on those screenshots on this slide. So as a summary, what we have seen today, we have unified the channel and campaign management. With one Screenflow, we identified all event marketing channels, campaign types, and member statuses for streamlined planning and execution. We automated the Salesforce campaign creation. The flow created each Salesforce campaign for us, customized for each channel, and included landing page URLs with tailored tracking parameters. We now have seamless tracking and attribution. The UTM parameters embedded within the landing page URLs ensures accurate lead tracking and attribution for every channel. And we can then, with additional flow, automate the lead and contact assignment. New leads and contacts can be added to the relevant campaigns automatically, completely with their predefined member statuses. And with that, I'm actually through and throwing it to you guys if you have any questions.
Hey, thank you so much, Claudia. That was an amazing session. So we do have about 5 minutes left to answer or take some questions. So first off, we've got one here. What are the best practices to create a hierarchy and statuses, which include emails and downloadable content where the emails lead to? So do you have any recommendations there?
Yeah, sure. I like to do it in a way that I actually make a plan for the year. So if I look at my annual marketing campaign planning, I know how much budget I have and what channels I would like to use for those, and essentially then start from there. So start from my very first high level. What are the different channels I like to use? So for example, from an email, and then down there from the email, what are the different email campaigns I'd like to be running? Like if you say like you have downloaded content, for what is that? Is that for specific products you might be launching? Are you doing some thought leadership marketing? So that's how you can essentially lay down the different layers of the child campaigns. Essentially, like think about it from a way of how you want to report, because you can roll up reporting in the campaign hierarchy. It can have up to 5 levels. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for answering that one. We've got 2 questions about Screenflows. So the first one is, what permissions are required to make a Screenflow? And that one, I think you need to be a Flow user. Is that correct, Claudia?
That's right. Yeah, I think best. I mean, best for is like to be like a system administrator in Salesforce. But yeah, there's definitely also a checkbox, a permission for a Flow user. But yeah, like to be safe, system admin will definitely take you there.
Excellent. Our next question is, do you use Screenflows to encourage all users to create campaigns, or do you empower specific users only for those campaign creations?
Good. That's a very good question. I would definitely say I would only empower those users who have been, who have been educated on it. Like the setup I've showed you today, like in terms of the channels and the types and the likes, that's actually like a backend setup you want to create once, so it sits there, so you don't have to constantly change that, because I guess usually you don't always change channels. You might add or remove a channel here or there. But then also, like, because the Screenflow that I showed you does create those campaigns as soon as you have gone through it the whole time. So it can, as you see, create a lot of campaigns. So you definitely want to make sure you educate those people using it, and train them in it and test it with them, so that you don't end up with like a trillion campaigns which are irrelevant.
All right, we've got about 2 minutes left. So we've got another couple questions coming in. The first one here is, what is the purpose of including the Salesforce campaign ID and member status ID? Did I hear correctly that it's used in another flow to automatically add to campaigns? Is the purpose of this to eliminate the need for completion actions?
That is 100% correct. Yeah. So you don't need to build, like as I tried to explain earlier, to create multiple campaigns and multiple forms and multiple completion actions with a one-to-one relationship, but it's a dynamic solution. So it allows you to grab the campaign ID and member status as part of the URL. You could grab it in a hidden field, you stamp it on the prospect field in the prospect database, you sync it across to lead and contact. And from there, a flow grabs it, looks at the ID and says, this is campaign Google paid search. Awesome. I stick the lead in there and I take the UTM values with me and I stamp them on the campaign member. So the field on the prospect and on the lead and contact essentially can be overwritten and to be used and to be kept on the campaign member.
Excellent. So we've only got about 45 seconds left, so we are out of time for questions. I do want to go ahead and thank Claudia for an amazing session. Thank you all who have joined us for this session, and a special shout out to our sponsors for their support. Without them, Marjdreamin would not be possible. We've got some great sessions coming up, including one on customizing and automating your lead lifecycle in Salesforce. We do have record of the questions that got asked that we didn't get to, so we will be following up with you and answering those soon. Thank you all so much, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone, and enjoy Marjdreamin. And thanks for joining my session.